Fetch. During the 1990s and before, it was common for animated series to release one of their episodes as theatrical shorts before the actual show came out. CatDog was one of these, and its theatrical short Fetch had some minor differences between it and what would become the final CatDog episode with the same title. In this case, Fetch aired in theaters before the Rugrats movie, and its differences were reportedly not too major as far as the actual episode was concerned. It included a different title card and had the theme song over the beginning and end of the short, with a different Nickelodeon logo for those that care about that. The short was also in a 16:9 aspect ratio, which was obviously different from the 4:3 aspect ratio that the show actually aired in. Apparently this theatrical version also aired in reruns according to some sources, but I've not found any evidence that it actually did. A tape was sold on eBay last year, so this theatrical version is clearly in someone's possession, but that someone hasn't released anything publicly.
It's adventure time, come on, grab your friends. We'll go to very distant lands. Jake the dog and Ben the human. The fun will never end. It's adventure time.
Adventure Time short film. One of the most well-known facts people like to talk about with Adventure Time is that Nickelodeon passed on it, and so Cartoon Network picked it up. They saw something in it that Nickelodeon didn't, and it resulted in one of their most successful shows ever. What is less known is that the 7-minute pilot Nickelodeon rejected, which isn't lost, was preceded by a 1-minute short that Nickelodeon also rejected. Not a lot of information is available about this 1-minute pitch short, except that it involves early versions of characters we know well, such as Finn, Jake, the Ice King, and Princess Bubblegum. Since Pendleton Ward persistently pitched to Nickelodeon multiple times, this 1-minute short might not even be the only one of its kind. But for all intents and purposes, that doesn't really matter, since there's not a frame of anything publicly available. Over the Counter. What is believed as common knowledge is that Snoop Dogg's first album released in 1992. This is not the case, however, if the cassette titled Over the Counter from 1991 is indeed Snoop Dogg's first real album. There were 17 tracks allegedly on that cassette, and 6 of them did get a public release in the form of a compilation album many years later. Some believe Snoop just had a catalog of early unreleased tracks that were not from a centralized source of one tape, and that some of the released songs weren't even from 1991. The evidence used to support Over the Counter's non-existence is usually one of the lyrics being, "That's how we do it in the 9/8, as 1998 is believed to be the actual year of recording for the song Do You Remember. Whether it exists or not, the 11 other songs are in a limbo state with regards to their lost media status.
Tune in tonight.
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 Hellevator. This was a game show on the Game Show Network that aired in the mid-2010s. It is essentially a series of challenges contestants must complete for money, both in its Season 1 and Season 2 formats, which, yes, they changed formats after the first season. In the first season, the titular Hellevator was a central hub the contestants made it back to after completing the challenges. After the show's run, it was available on Netflix, with the seasons being released as a whole at different points in time. After its removal from Netflix in 2018, there were still episodes available to watch in other places, but the full run has not been available since being on Netflix. Season 1 is almost all available with just one episode missing, and all Season 2 episodes except for one are lost. All-Star Game World. This was an exclusive games channel for televisions in Australia, available through the company All-Star, which has since been acquired by Foxtel. Upon launch in 2007, the game started as free for the opening weekend to entice users to subscribe to the service and to build hype. This was short-lived, however, as the service, as experimental as it was, just wasn't worth the price to Australian consumers. The service was discontinued in 2009, and with it went all the games that were available through the service. And forget just finding the games in a playable state. finding footage of them all is tough enough as it is. RoboCrosser. This series was announced at the 2008 Tokyo International Anime Fair, and it was to be about a 12-year-old boy and his unicycle robot who are trying to win a motorbike race. That quote was taken from the wiki, which was quoting the 2008 announcement directly. The release was set for 2009, and the show was going to be aired by Disney. This did not end up happening for undisclosed reasons. There was a fully animated trailer shown at the anime fair, so production issues could not have stopped the release, as those generally stop anything before full animation can take place. There have been rumblings of storyboards existing since at least 2004, but like the trailer, those are also lost. Meaning the animation, trailer, and storyboards are all lost completely, with the exception of one frame of the trailer, with no reason ever being known for the show's cancellation. Promotional material is all we have. Kid Kirby. This Kirby game was never released, but despite that, we actually do know a lot about its development. It would have used the SNES mouse functionality to move Kirby around, and difficulty with using a weird gimmick like that causes the demise of a lot of projects. Story-wise, it's a lot like Yoshi's Island in that it would have, in a way, been an origin story, seeing classic Kirby characters like King Dedede and Kirby himself as infants. Stalled development and a lack of success for the SNES mouse led to the shelving of this game, with it being lost in any kind of playable state. There apparently was a demo, but it too is lost. Super Mario RPG 2. While Paper Mario is a beloved spin-off in the RPG space for the Mario franchise, Super Mario RPG was going to be more than just self-contained. Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64 was originally planned as a sequel to Super Mario RPG for the SNES. And actually, the US title was going to be Super Mario Adventure, which definitely doesn't sound generic and boring at all. Actually, the game was planned for the Nintendo 64 disk drive, and just from hearing that, you can probably tell why it didn't come out. Previewed at Space World 1997, Super Mario RPG 2 was going to take similar gameplay from the first game, and utilize cutout art style in a 3D space, and you can probably already tell how this evolved into Paper Mario. Obviously, since the disk drive was a failure, the game was reworked into the Paper Mario game that released late in the Nintendo 64's life cycle, and any playable form of its early version is lost. The Tim Conway Show. Not to be confused with the Tim Conway Comedy Hour, which we may get to in another video, the Tim Conway Show was a sitcom starring, you guessed it, Tim Conway that aired in 1970. The show was about Conway getting himself into wacky situations as an airline pilot, with Joe Flynn co-starring as he did with Conway on McHale's Navy. The show got low ratings, which resulted in swift cancellation, and only 12 total episodes. Of these 12 episodes, 10 are lost, with a couple of lost episode titles not even being known. The other 2 are available to watch on YouTube if you're curious about how good or bad the show is.
He told me you killed him. No. I am your father.
The Empire Strikes Back, original line. Possibly one of the most iconic lines in not just Star Wars history, but movie history in general, is Darth Vader telling Luke Skywalker, "I am your father." There were rumors prior to release, and even at the time of filming that scene, that a huge twist was imminent in this, at the time, future Star Wars sequel. The cast didn't even know the twist was happening until the last point possible, and therein lies the lost media. The scene was filmed with the body actor David Prowse saying the line, "Obi-Wan killed your father," which didn't make it into the final film since James Earl Jones' "I Am Your Father" made the cut. This secret was kept all the way until release, and the audio of Prowse saying the original line in the scene is lost.